It was really good. And then this morning I woke up and I got wafted. Okay. When you get in a car and your homie farted in the car right before you got in and you sit down
Azerbaijan Pogo.
and you just get hit in the face with a fart smell and you're like, well, this is not my fart smell. This is terrible. Because obviously your own farts don't smell as bad, but other people's farts, like, they just fucking kill you. That's kind of what happened to me this morning. Where, yesterday I memed, not even too close to the sun, like very far away from the sun, about the CDC's decisions. Okay? The CDC, for those of you who don't know, made a decision to, shorten the recommended COVID-19 isolation and quarantine time. I posted this. This was 6 days before the CDC's decision. Okay? 38,000 people liked it. 3,000 people retweeted it. Obviously, people got it. I mean, first of all, when I say meme, I mean, like, obviously, I don't think it's exclusively that, like, the Delta CEO sent a sternly written letter. And then that's why the CDC was like, yeah, okay, we're going to follow through on this. That's not my take, for those of you who don't understand. That also doesn't mean that, like, you shouldn't trust the CDC or anything. You still should, but it's like the New York Times. You know what I mean? They do good work, and then sometimes they get cucked by the influence of capital. Okay? So Too Mad, who is known for memeing, usually, wrote this in response, and I thought, this is a bit, right? Like, and I thought at first it was a bit, because it's Too Mad. He just, like, I don't know. He just, like, writes crazy shit on other people's accounts normally, under people's, like, posts normally. He said, Hasan, this is Alex Jones' populism level insinuating the Delta CEO through the brute force power influence forced the CDC to cut isolation time. When the CDC via independent advisory signed off by many epidemiologists had already decided on it to mitigate health worker unavailability. Now, at first I thought it was a meme, and so I DM'd him like, Are you okay? Like, first I said, this is my favorite bit of yours. And then I was like, wait a minute. Are you fucking serious? Like, do you actually believe this? And he was not joking.
You the best.
No, he straight up, I don't know if it's like a continued bit in the DMs or not. But he straight up said something along the lines of, like, the burden of proof is not on me. If they deemed it not necessary to quarantine past 5 days for asymptomatic people, you have to demonstrate that they made this decision while prioritizing profits over health. Like, he was, like, straight up, like, he was just writing, like, he was writing in my DMs as though he was responding in my DMs like a person who, I don't know, like he was ready to go to fucking bat for the CDC.
My favorite anime-loving himbo Hassel.
Okay. Ooh, you got 40K likes. Who cares about a 2K like response? That was 2 posts on the D subreddit front page. Oh, that's where they're coming from. I was like, because then this guy's not a random. No. He's like a YouTube content creator. He's the guy who, like, goes on, people's Zoom classes and stuff, and he used to fuck around. Anyway.
Hi.
And for the record, like, you can disagree with me. That's fine. And this is, like, not a ridiculous way to disagree with me. It's still not, I mean, making a comparison that, like, big business, the Chamber of Commerce has routinely been advocating to lower the quarantine time so that people can get back to work at the behest of corporate profits, putting profits over the interests of people and public safety and public health. That's that's not exactly, you know, Sandy Hook was fake and it was a psyop level conspiracy, I think. And if you think that way, if you're not memeing, you're straight up delusional. I would go so far as to say psychopathic, but I think he was kind of memeing, right? I want to believe that there is like a level of memeing there. So then I looked at the replies and like people saying shit to me on Twitter, and I was like, oh my God, no, there's like, because I thought we were all united on making jokes about the CDC, about how they were, about how the CDC was actually, you know,
what dumb thing
ridiculous for making this decision. I thought Twitter was united on this. You know what I mean? I thought we were all fucking clapping up and making jokes. Well,
Doom appealed for 21 months foggers.
So bir oku bir ikiye donate atacağım ya. Ulan paran yok, Türksün, yapma öyle salak salak işler. Anyway. So I've already talked about this. Maybe don't meme about that when half the country are anti-vaxxers just looking for a reason not to get their shot. Suck my cock, you dumb bitch. What the CDC is doing here is actually a fucking meme for the most part. What the CDC is doing here is significantly more dangerous. You understand that, right? One, it undermines the authority of the CDC. Two, it literally legitimizes everything that the fucking corporate, the anti-CDC psycho anti-vaxxers have said. They're literally basically stating, you can just go back to work after 5 days or don't, but please wear a mask, but like, you know, on your own if you're asymptomatic. Come on. When you fucking put together inconsistent bullshit like that, and while also simultaneously not putting out the data, new data, not all the fucking old data that every dickhead in my fucking replies on Twitter have shown me so far. Like, oh, have you seen the data? It's like from November 2020. Okay. New data showcasing that, like, no, actually 5 days of quarantine is enough, right? If you do that, then you're literally legitimizing everything anti-maskers and anti-vaxxers have said. As a matter of fact, I'll go so far as to say you're basically saying that the guys who are storming Burger King for freedom are right. Okay? Why are we doing this then? Why is there any reason? If it's not that big of a fucking deal, if you can actually lower it from 10 days to 5 days without any additional new information, where every single epidemiologist, damn near every single epidemiologist is saying this is fucking preposterous. What the fuck is the CDC doing? Where you're just uninformed, the 10 days was over out of an abundance of caution. Dude, that's what the CDC is supposed to do. The CDC is supposed to make public health decisions with an abundance of caution. You understand that, right? Not making a public health and safety choice over an abundance of caution and actually putting the interest of profits over the interest of the abundance of caution is very much the opposite of what the CDC is supposed to do. And not only that,
the U.S. just broke its 7 day.
Even the fucking CDC itself, including Dr. Antonio Fauci, has straight up talked about the reason why they did this. And that is for the economy. So for me to say this, and then for people to turn around and be like, it's a conspiracy. The fuck do you mean it's a conspiracy? They're saying it. Now, we'll talk about the other side of this. Isn't that only for asymptomatic cases, which have a lower viral load? But before we talk about the other side of this, I'm just going to fucking tweet out that I'm live. Because I've already jumped right into the fucking news because it's a big stunlock day for me. And then, you know. You okay? Get so posting in the fucking chat, dude. Nice. Okay. Daycare is open. And we're still doing 10-day quarantine here. CDC decision before moving on to memes, dreams, and of course, MasterChef Season 3. Get in it now.
Did you already react to Don't Look Up?
Meme for the tweet? No, dude, I can't. That's too inside baseball. I tested negative for all the symptoms, and my mom tested positive asymptomatic. Doctor said it was probably a false negative. Stop. I'm not going to post the fucking yoga boy with the show me your nips, change my mind thing. Now, okay, that one's fine. That one's good. All right, I'll just use that one. So, here's the thing. If the CDC turns around and says, hey, we originally fucked up with our overall restrictive approach. 10 days is way too long, and it has been way too long. Okay? It has been way too long since the get-go for COVID lockdowns. And that's why we're restricting it. We're lowering the restrictions to 5 days. And here's the data for it. Okay, I'm wrong. Or if the CDC comes out and says, here's the new data for it. Actually, Omicron is significantly less deadly, and Omicron, unlike the previous variants, actually tends to not impact people.
Wow,
okay,
50 degrees
in a really
cold?
severe way.
Well, that's valid and relevant to your previous experiences. Hashtag
if they, if they come out and say Omicron is lighter and it's impossible to avoid, and that's partially the reason why we took this decision. Here, blast this off, so you fucking, so all your friends and family know and can come in and hear me fucking rant about this shit.
And more to the left, hassle.
If the CDC turns around and says, hey, Omicron spreads like wildfire, virtually impossible to avoid, okay, just, take it on the chin, get vaxxed, get boosted, take it on the fucking chin, and let's move on. That's why we're making this decision. Then yeah, that's a decision that I would probably disagree with. I don't think we should take it on the chin. But governments have done similar things in the past. The UK, for example. Right? Don't you think that would also discredit the CDC? This also discredits the CDC. The most significant part of epidemiology from a public health perspective is communication, is towing the delicate line between not being too aggressive so that people lose their fucking minds and think, oh man, the boy who cried wolf is crying wolf again, and not being so free and lack of and devoid of restriction that people fucking die nonstop. And why does the CDC exist to begin with in that situation? Do you not understand? Do you not get it?
Hyperpogger.
$100 says when considering the current infection rate, next major variant is 5 months out. I mean, I don't know about that.
Nine-month brain rot.
2Matt realizes there may be cloud opposing you. Furthermore, it is just another brainwashed capitalist who either ignores the government's responsibility in dealing with an epidemic. No, because in the DMs when he was talking, he actually, it seemed like he was worried about like opposing the CDC and undermining its influence or integrity at a time when like public health is of the, utmost importance. And he's right about that. No, I did. Immediately I DM'd him because I was like, first I thought it was a bit and I was like, this is pretty funny. And then after that, it was like, oh no, you actually believe this? What the fuck? You like legit think this is an Alex Jones level conspiracy?
It's getting pretty
so I do
serious
understand. For the record, I do. It's very liberal of him to fucking actually do this, not conservative reactionary at all. Like, he might be motivated by clout, certainly. Who isn't? Holy shit! But I don't think his intentions were in the wrong place.
Twamed clapped you up.
With his original, or with the underlying reason for why he did this. Now, of course, I personally think it's not me undermining the credibility of an institution. It's the institution's actions themselves that do way more of a disservice because it's their fucking job. Okay? Everyone that disagrees with you is motivated by clout, right? That's not what I'm saying at all. I think clout, of course, is an underlying factor for a lot of influencers in the decisions that they make on the internet. And I personally straight up said, I don't think it was just for clout. I think he legitimately was, oh, you're probably trying to clip this so you can fucking make a video compilation and like send it to Matt or something. Why am I even responding to you? I already just described that I don't think it's for clout, and I think he's actually a liberal. And I think that he is worried about, undermining the integrity of the CDC. Anyway, so
based.
So where was I? Oh yeah. So I basically responded to him seriously, and I said, one, healthcare worker quarantine time was cut short 5 days before this decision. Okay, that was an independent decision. The CDC 5 days prior to this last decision to like say we're cutting quarantine in half. What is this?
You strike me as
Radicalizing too, Matt? I don't want to watch this. I don't give a shit about this. Okay, fuck that shit. Okay, I don't care. This isn't even about Too Mad himself.
Pog chat.
Okay. I said healthcare worker quarantine time was cut short 5 days before this decision. Okay, we can talk about the ethics of that decision in and of itself, right? I said, two, unconventionally, the CDC never released new data that shows it's safe to quarantine for 5 days, even with the vague guidelines. And three, not just the Delta CEO, but also governors influenced by commerce. And the replies under this was like, Hasan, I like you, but you're wrong on this. They did this because they realized the PCR tests were showing positives long after the infection period ended. They knew about this a month ago. This has nothing to do with Delta, despite the company trying to trade credit. First of all, Delta itself is not trying to fucking trade credit here. Okay? They, along with like every other fucking company, along with every other facet of commerce, has been trying to lower quarantine and loosen up restrictions since the vaccines came out. I don't know why people are so fucking horny to tell me I'm wrong, that they are not listening to what, not me, what the CDC is saying. The CDC is personally saying, listen, we decided in order to protect the economy that lowering it to 5 days is the smart decision. Okay? That's what they said. And if you don't recognize the big problem here, I don't know what to tell you. This is not about like making a suggestion. When the CDC lowers their actual suggestions, that all of a sudden turns into your boss is going to force you back to work even if you're fucking sick as a dog, okay? That's the problem.
Boys.
How do people not see that? And that is unsafe. That's unsafe for the worker, first and foremost. And that's even unsafe for the people that are going to that place of business. Do you want to be fucking terrified, especially if you're like an immunocompromised person, that the, Walgreens you're walking into to get, to grab a fucking, a bar of soap is where you may or may not get fucking COVID, even though you've been safe this entire time? So you're saying it's just a slippery slope? What? Are you fucking brain dead, dude? Stop.
It's been 15
Stop.
months, I guess.
Get your fucking surgeon wife to operate on your brain for a second before you start trying to fucking bait me in this situation when you know I'm trying to describe something and you know there's motherfuckers in here aching to fucking catch me slipping, quote unquote, to like clip shit out of context so they can blast it.
CDC? More like can't disrupt capitalism.
You according to Twitter? Yeah, exactly. Anyway, we're going to get to the Fauci side of things in a second, too. I still don't know what your take is. How do you not understand what my take is? My take is that there are parts of the economy, Chamber of Commerce, business owners, from small business owners to big business owners, liberal, Republican, doesn't matter, that have wanted to lower the quarantine restrictions because they believe that there is a tight labor market and there is a labor shortage, and they want to keep churning out fucking profits. Okay? So when there is a labor shortage and you want to churn out profits, and the CDC is stopping you, technically with this guideline that they've set forth, which says if you get COVID, you have to sit out for 10 fucking days. Okay, not 5, 10 days. That means you're losing a worker for 10 days. Okay? You're losing a fucking worker for 10 days. When Omicron came out and started ripping everybody, when we have like the UK with 180 new cases a day, in the US we have, hundreds of thousands of new cases a day, all of a sudden you have hundreds of thousands of workers that are no longer able to work in the economy. That creates a massive labor shortage unless the government steps in and does something about it.
Hassle.
Okay? So my take is that people who have a stake in this, okay, people who own businesses, and very openly so they've been doing this, people who own businesses, the Chamber of Commerce, lobbied the government regularly, whether it be their local governments, whether it be their governors that then went to Joe Biden and said, Biden, please lower these fucking restrictions, like, talk to the CDC. And all of that pressure paired up with the potential of Omicron being not as deadly and the potential of Omicron, more importantly, of being a super spreader no matter what and making it impossible to avoid COVID created a stress upon the CDC to say, hey, fuck it. We're just going to put the economy in the forefront, okay? If they die, they die. Some people are going to fucking die. There's no way to avoid that. Fuck it. Get back to work. A worker can still say they have symptoms and quarantine as long as they want. You're a fucking fool. You are wrong. There is absolutely 0% chance that once the CDC cuts the isolation time or says, oh, it's only for asymptomatic people, that companies are not going to force your fucking symptomatic ass back to work. You are literally delusional. You are straight fucking delusional if you don't realize that. They already have ways to do this even with the CDC restrictions. So you're out of your fucking mind. Here, I mean, I'll give you an example here. Here, where is it? Hold on. You think personally that companies that literally force people back to fucking work, no matter what the conditions are, companies that tell people to, stick, Amazon famously telling its workers to fucking go to work and stay there regardless of a tornado warning, are not going to send your bitch ass back to work? Are you insane? Hold on, where the fuck is that? I can't find it now. What the fuck? Where is it? Oh, here it is. 2 workers die within hours of each other at the Amazon warehouse in Bessemer, Alabama. One was denied sick leave before suffering a fatal stroke.
Hey,
Workers tell Grim Kim that 6 people have died in the facility this year, and Amazon's trying to cover it up. One of these workers told HR management that he wasn't feeling well, and they told him that he was out of unpaid time off, so he could either stay or lose his job. He stayed and died of a stroke. Like, you're gonna tell me that, like, companies are not gonna force your fucking dumbass back to work? Dumbass.
Just want to
and
say
now they literally have
are ahead since Omicron hasn't even begun to peak. Just want to say I appreciate the distraction and entertainment you've offered throughout the pandemic, Hasan.
Oh, he's going. I know you want to say you were just pretending, but we all know government balances decisions for economy all the time, Hasan. But you imply a compromised government by corporations. So to be honest, I clapped you up a bit. So chill with the Trump pandemic misinformation for a week. Yes, stunlock. Okay. Okay, now I'm going to go fucking balls to the wall. I'm the one who's fucking saying Trump pandemic. Trump pandemic is literally what the fucking CDC is doing currently. I think people have lost their fucking plot. Like, they've lost their minds. Okay, now it is for clout, by the way, for the record. This is 1000% for clout. Suck my cock, you irrelevant bitch, okay? Straight up, that is bait. Straight up, that is fucking clout. That 1000% is for fucking clout. No, he absolutely got fucking boosted. And now he's just fucking trolling. And now he is 100% doing this for fucking clout. Okay, we're done. Okay. Fucking two fraud over here. Anyway. I'm just fucking pretending. I'm just pretending. Okay. Anyway, what I was saying is, so healthcare workers' quarantine time was already cut short, but this fucking dumbass doesn't even understand that, I guess. And he was, engaging in that classic debate lord fucking tactic of trying to pair the two. Like, this was done for healthcare workers. Oh, I didn't realize that it was done for healthcare workers because it was done for healthcare workers separately. And then this was for the entire fucking industry, for every industry.
"16-month streak, chat. I love you all, Hassel."
Cutting restrictions with record infections. Yeah. You know what's funny about all this? By the way, this is what I was thinking this morning. Like, if Donald Trump personally fucking said, like he had done time and time again, or directed the CDC to fucking lower the fucking quarantine restrictions last year, okay? Liberals would be fucking losing their minds, okay? They would be fucking losing their minds, okay? Every liberal would be like, what the fuck? Trump doesn't care about COVID, blah, 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 blah. The CDC is compromised, all this other shit. But when Joe Biden's administration does it, it's like, yeah, baby, it's the pandemic, homie. Let's go. Liberals literally have one fucking speed, dude. Straight up brain dead. No analysis whatsoever beyond like, whoop, it's the pandemic, baby. Let's go. If it's the fucking pandemic, okay? If it's the pandemic, let's go get some bans, okay? Fuck this restriction bullshit. Let it all out. Hang it all out, dude. It's so stupid. It is literally fucking psychotic to operate this way. And then try and use oh, dude, you're being a fucking Trump. You're being a Trump style misinformation spreader. Is psychotic, dude. Like, absolutely fucking psychotic. We have 1,500 people dying right now, dude. We have 1,500 people dying on average. Okay? You literally are, though, Lamau. I am what? I literally am what? Listen to Dr. Drew?
No one cares that it's my sub-anniversary.
Can you talk to Dr. Drew about the CDC shit and not be... Dog, your response is listen to Dr. Drew? Okay, 11-month subscriber. Get the fuck out of here, bro. I swear to God. Dr. Drew went on the Pat McAfee show today and described it.
Jerk.
Great. Yeah, let me listen to fucking Dr. Drew, bro. Literally a fucking television psychiatrist. Like, yo, dude, Dr. Phil broke this down. Like, you're crazy. I get it. We all have fucking fatigue, okay? We all have lockdown fatigue. We all have pandemic fatigue, okay? I understand it. But this is like, I mean, this is insane. 1,500 people are dying a day, which is less than how many people were dying last year at this time. But last year at this time, there were no fucking vaccines, okay? I feel like I'm taking crazy pills. The problem with Omicron, the issue with Omicron is that your CDC Gov, is this woman safe to stop isolating on day 5? She got asymptomatic COVID-2. Her test is so positive that her test is immediately positive under 30 seconds, but the CDC director says it's okay. Countless epidemiologists are upset. Yeah, that's the other thing. Like, look, I'm an advocate for the CDC. You know this. I've talked about it before. Okay? The CDC's gotten some shit wrong. The CDC's gotten most shit right. I still think the CDC is a necessary arm of the government. Okay?
Has flex.
But it's wild that they themselves have admitted that the reason why they did this is for the economy. And motherfuckers are straight up claiming that, like, Fauci didn't say this was for the economy. I mean, he did it. He said it himself. So what the fuck are you yelling at me for? This makes no sense to me. Here. So I said, I originally thought this was a meme. I was wrong. Apparently, there's a good deal of people on Twitter who truly think it's a Sandy Hook. Sandy Hook was fake level conspiracy to repeat what the CDC openly stated, that this new lowering of quarantine requirements is to protect the economy. Here's what Dr. Antonio fucking Fauci said. Okay? Here.
The purpose of it is that given the wave, the extraordinary, unprecedented wave of infections that we are experiencing now and will certainly experience more of in the next few weeks, that there is the danger that there will be so many people who are being isolated, who are asymptomatic for the full 10 days, that you could have a major negative impact on our ability to keep society running. So the decision was made, although it's not completely risk-free, of saying, let's get that cut in half so that we could have 50%, namely half of the 10 days, and 50% of that time, people can actually be out with a mask in society. The purpose of it.
I don't know what happens when, like, Dr. Anthony Fauci says this. Do people just go, la, 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 fuck you, bro? I don't hear you. He straight up is admitting that the main reason why they're doing this is because Omicron is so fucking such a fast spreader that it's impossible to avoid it. And if we're going to maintain the same fucking quarantine measures that we had, people are just not going to go to work. So many parts of our economy are going to shut down. So we distrust scientists now? I'm not distrusting him. I'm trusting him on his word, you fucking idiot. That's my point. Do we really think the CDC would do something not in the best interest of the people, so we distrust scientists now? I don't understand how you can't... When you hear this... When you hear what he just said, I want you to explain to me what you think he's saying. Because he's literally saying It's for the economy. Explain to me what you think he just said. Oh my God. Listen closely, okay? We're going to walk through this again. We're going to walk through this again. And I want you to listen closely to his reasoning as to why the CDC cut the restrictions in half. Okay? Are you guys ready for this? I know it's like kind of hard to comprehend. It's like he's saying a lot of words and you know, you're agitated. You think like you know, your favorite political broadcaster is now Joe Rogan Andy or something. Like, what the fuck? Is he like anti-CDC? I'm not anti-CDC. Okay? Oh, are you a conservative because you're anti-CDC? Like, people can't see beyond political team sports in any meaningful capacity. Do you think there are conservatives out there that are saying, hold the fuck up? No, we need to continue quarantining for 10 days unless there's like actual evidence that recently came out that you are somehow, for some reason, not releasing?
3 months, let's go.
You think conservatives are out there like, hold on, I actually don't want to go to Applebee's for my $5 jalapeno poppers. I don't care what the CDC said. They are compromising this circumstance by big government to get everybody back to work immediately in an effort to put the profits over the interests of the people. And as a matter of fact, that's precisely why they're lowering the quarantine restrictions. What the fuck? You think that's what conservatives are saying right now? That's what's happening right now. We're going to do it again. We're going to run it from the top, okay? We're going to run it from the top.
The purpose of it was that given the wave, the extraordinary, unprecedented wave of infections that we are experiencing now and will certainly experience more of in the next few weeks, that there is the danger that there will be so many people who are being isolated, who are asymptomatic for the full 10 days, that you could have a major negative impact on our ability to keep society running. So the decision was made, although it's not completely risk-free.
Let's run it again.
People who are being isolated, who are asymptomatic for the full 10 days, that you could have a major negative impact on our ability to keep society running. So the decision was made.
Given how COVID is spreading at this moment, having people quarantine for the full 10 days is going to have a major impact
for the full
on our ability to keep society running.
10 days, that you could have a major negative impact on our ability to keep society running. So the decision was made, although it's not completely risk-free.
Not completely risk-free. The decision was made.
Saying, let's get that cut in half so that we could have 50%, namely half of the 10 days, and 50% of that time, people can actually be out with a mask in society.
Yeah, just you know, take matters into your own hands. Just wear a mask. Do you get it? Do you understand it? That is Trumpian rhetoric. What are we going to do? Shut down the economy? Are we going to shut down the economy? All of the liberals, all the libtards who were fucking screeching in the beginning of the pandemic, understandably, about you are putting the interests of profit over the interests of citizens. What the fuck are you doing? Oh, the economy is more important than people's well-being. Are literally now like, no, actually, we are putting the economy over people's well-being. Shut the fuck up. What are you, a Trump supporter? That's literally what people are saying to me right now, which is psychotic. Okay? You're doing the same thing what Trump supporters did when they called it a pandemic. They said the CDC and Fauci were in the pockets of big pharma, and look where that got us. Bro, you are so fucking brain dead. I just come on the stream, jackass. Here, dude. Here, you want to fucking come on the stream? Go ahead.
Has right shout out to my fellow ed nurses has left.
You're being straight up delusional at the moment. This is insane.
The brain rot begins hassle.
God, I can't even fucking type. I'm losing my mind. It's like the same people who literally fucking, this very same people who straight up said, you have him on stream. You already admitted he's doing it for clout. It's not like he's going to have a good help or it doesn't matter. This is psychotic.
Greetings from Ireland.
Literally just now got my first negative test, asymptomatic COVID, 11 days post first positive, 22 days post exposure. Yeah, it's just, it's fucking wild. Like, people just assume that, I think people just assume like, you know, COVID, or people assume like Democrat equals one side, Republican equals another side. Here, let's hear what, let's hear what Chris Hayes had to say about the new CDC guidance. Which, by the way, like, I'm not fucking 100% unchangeable on this issue. If the CDC comes out and they release new evidence that, like, for example, Omicron is not as dangerous or is not as deadly, okay, and that their projections for how many people are going to die is not going to be that severe. People are still going to fucking die, obviously, but it's not going to be that severe, then, you know, okay, that's fair. But the reality is there's no new fucking science on this. They didn't actually analyze new information. They're just straight up saying, we're reinterpreting the science that's already been there, saying basically that for the past fucking couple of months, for the past year, we've just been making you undergo strict lockdown for no fucking reason. That's the issue. Do you not see that? And they're saying this in a country where 800,000 people have fucking died of COVID. We have demonstrably been the worst at dealing with COVID, especially for how much money we have, how many vaccines we have. It is blowing my fucking mind that people are having such a hard time coming to terms with this reality when Dr. fucking Fauci himself is admitting it on the timeline. He is openly stating this. Okay? Worst of it all is Dr. Fauci stating that at the top of the hour there's a 60-second ad break and no one is recognizing it. Okay? No one. And if you no longer want to see those ads, he's basically stating, listen, all you need to do is subscribe. You can do that for $5. You can do that for free. Or you can do that by getting a gifted sub. But I think there is no amount of evidence that I can show people if they are this like adamant about, you know, doo-dooing, throwing a fat dookie on me. You know? If you're so horny to just be like, you're fucking wrong. Vera42, thank you for the 20 gifted subs. If you're so horny to be like, yo, Hasan, you're fucking wrong, you're fucking wrong, you're fucking wrong, then yeah, you're not gonna see my side no matter how much I present you, no matter how much evidence I give you. Okay? Especially because I'm showing you.
Also but has sa and jalapeno peppers.
What is this? This is straight up for the CDC. This is another fucking don't wear a mask, but wear a mask moment. Okay?
Hi, Daddy. Sorry, I meant
and we know how compromising that don't wear a mask, but wear a mask moment was. We know how bad that was when they did that. People still use that against them non-fucking stop. Yeah, the worker side is aware of this. Obviously, this is. By the way, I'm basing part of my criticism off of what Sarah Nelson said. Yes, the Flight Attendants Association president Sarah Nelson has been criticizing the CDC for putting the interests of capital over the interests of its workers. Okay, where the economy's workers. So yeah, that is definitely a part of my argument here. But this is incredibly damaging. This is incredibly devastating for the authority and the integrity of the CDC. And like, I'm not going to fucking dial it back and lie at the behest of the CDC just because I'm worried about its fucking integrity when they're the ones who are making this insane decision. Definitely at the behest of corporate profits and definitely at the interest of like maintaining the economy, keeping the economy going. And the keep the economy going argument literally quite literally was Donald Trump's argument for his lackluster approach to COVID as well. So for liberals to take that on, you know what I mean? For liberals to just jump on that conclusion because it's a Democratic administration right now is legitimizing precisely what fucking Donald Trump supporters said originally about liberals, that like, you don't give a fuck. You don't care about anything as long as it's your fucking team winning. What the fuck? I expect more from at least people in here. Considering that that's, you know, you're here for a reason. You're not on fucking, you know, you're not on any other outlets. You're not getting your information specifically from MSNBC, even though we are going to go to MSNBC. Chris Hayes is one of the good ones. Apparently here he is grilling Dr. Fauci. Let's hear what he has to say.
You are talking about a policy judgment in a context of trade-offs between different consequences. Okay, so stopping the spread of a highly communicable infectious disease is one thing that we want to do. Allowing, as you said, society to function. Obviously, like, you don't want everyone at the local water treatment facility to be out in quarantine for 10 days with none of the skilled technicians running it, for one example, okay?
Correct.
But, and I get
6 months, I feel brain rot growing.
I did run an ad, yes. All I'm hearing is cowardly posturing behind the computer because you're worried you won't be able to.
As flex. "16 months. Loving every minute hassle."
Straight up. Hasan, can you at least acknowledge that Omicron has less hospitalizations and death than Delta? I can acknowledge that. I absolutely do acknowledge that. There are a couple different factors here at play, though. Okay? there are a couple different factors here at play. Number one, don't feed the troll, please. You know which community this is from. Nobody agrees with them. No free clout. Yeah, but it would be fun if he came on. I think it's a really cowardly stance to just be like, oh, I was just talking about you comparing the CDC, saying the CDC is compromised. Okay? Are we just going to, just because Joe Rogan says Big Pharma is corrupt, doesn't change the reality that Big Pharma is corrupt. But Big Pharma can be corrupt while still simultaneously the vaccines can save lives. It's you have to be an absolute fucking moron to not recognize the take that I am missing a 2. Reread it. All I'm hearing is cowardly posturing behind the computer because you're worried that you won't be able to misrepresent. Yeah, I missed the 2 there. Misrepresent what I'm very clearly stating in real time and relegate to uncle memes like a Groiper neckbeard. That's precisely what he's doing. He's like, uncle, your uncle. It's so sad that this dude who begs to fucking come on my stream
Never trust the liberals, they will betray you. Vladimir Lenin.
Get on the stream, dude. Get on the stream. You've been begging to be on the stream. Don't make me fucking leak the DMs, dude.
Hyperpogger.
Come on. Yo, invite me over, brother. Content. I stream on Twitch now. Let's collab, bro. I'm 21 years old. What's up, dude? What? I'm telling you, you can come collab. Pull up, bitch. Let's collab.
4 months subbed. Feels weird saying that to a man.
I'm just it's just weird that, you know. It's weird that all of a sudden he's not you don't want to come on the stream? It's so strange. No, I don't like this. He's just trolling you bullshit, dude. That's literally such silly baby shit for the record, okay? Like, oh, he's just trolling. He's just trolling. Oh, okay, dude, I got it. You can just troll and fucking spread misinformation. Got it. He's only trolling, bro.
Peepo kiss.
Yeah, classic.
Almost 1 year.
No, I'm not trying to challenge him to a physical fight. And by the way, I was taking him seriously at first. I was. It's not like I started off by being like, fuck you, I'll fucking own you or anything like that. I started this conversation by being like, hey, listen, I will take you seriously. I will try to describe to you my position. I think there's a little bit of a miscommunication. We've moved on here.
Dems and Republicans are both capitalists chatters.
Kind of sad, dude. He's clearly mad. He won't let him leech. I'll let him leech. You can leech all day. You'll own me, dude.
Socialize medicine.
You'll own me. I would love to hear his perspective. Anyway, let's get back to this.
What am I?
Get that, and I think it's a very forthright explanation, but I guess the question is like, is there any science backing up the idea that after 5 days of asymptomatic isolation that you're not still shedding virus and contagions?
Yeah. Nothing is going to be 100%, and this is one of those situations when you're dealing with a very difficult situation, Chris, that we often say you don't want the perfect to be the enemy of the good. The fact is that we know that when you are infected early on in infection for the first several days, you have more of a likelihood to have a high level of virus and to be capable of spreading it. As you get into the second half of that 10-day period, we know that the virus in general, not for every single 100% of the people, but for most of the time, for most of the people, that level of virus diminishes to the point where the CDC feels, and I don't disagree with them at all, that wearing a mask is ample protection during that second half of a 10-day period.
He's drunk off the milk he's getting. What is this? Did he delete it? Why can't I see the tweet? Oh, he deleted the tweet. Because you'd avoid literally anyone who's knowledgeable on politics, but you got no problem debating Too Mad, Greek, XUC, and train wrecks, and then you call me a coward in your echo chamber, respond to what I'm saying instead of begging me to come on your stream? Oh, why did he delete this tweet? Oh, he's just straight up trying to get fucking Destiny on here. Yeah, he can suck my dick. Hey, listen, my clout extends to you, Too Mad. If you have a good point of view, don't try to fucking hide behind other people, you pathetic little coward. Figures you'd avoid literally anyone who's knowledgeable on politics, we got no problem. I can't even say anything else. That's it. I mean, he owned himself. There's literally no reason to continue here. All right, got it, dude. So you're just a fucking idiot. Okay, got it. Why'd you fucking post in the first place then? What happened? What a donkey, dude. Straight up admitting to being a fucking idiot. Okay. Dude votes for 3 reasons he's a political expert. Okay. All right, we're done. This is so stupid. I'm going to get back to like what I actually am doing because this is idiotic. Okay, so here's Chris Hayes talking to Dr. Fauci.
I get that, and I think it's a very forthright explanation, but I guess the question is like, is there any science backing up the idea that after 5 days of asymptomatic isolation that you're not still shedding virus and contagions?
Yeah. Nothing is going to be 100%, and this is one of those situations when you're dealing with a very difficult situation, Chris, that we often say you don't want the perfect to be the enemy of the good. The fact is that we know that when you are infected early on in infection for the first several days, you have more of a likelihood to have a high level of virus and to be capable of spreading it. As you get into the second half of that 10-day period, we know that the virus in general, not for every single 100% of the people, but...
Hold on, bro.
But for most of the time, for most of the people, that level of virus diminishes to the point where the CDC feels, and I don't disagree with them at all, that wearing a mask is ample protection during that second half of a 10-day period. When you balance that against the importance of trying to get people back functioning in society, because the alternative is something that no one wants, and that's to shut down completely. And we know that's not going to be palatable to the American public, and that's something you want to be avoiding. So how do you get people back to function in society, not with a zero risk, but with a markedly diminished risk? That is the basis for that decision.
So again, it's not for the public health, but for the public good, because Omicron is spreading rapidly. Oh, hey, Fiona. Omicron is spreading rapidly and maintaining. So I'm right. Maintaining the 10-day quarantine restrictions while Omicron is spreading rapidly is not going to be good, because too many people will be out of work. Okay? There is no new information that is available. What they're basically stating is that regardless of no new information, the new situation is Omicron. It spreads too much. Fauci himself is admitting that COVID can still spread after 5 days.
Trust the capital.
Have you seen Florida? Holy shit, they're fucked. Yes, there is a dog behind me. He's also personally admitting that there is still a risk, but he's saying that the risk does not outweigh the larger risk, in his opinion, of the economy. If you are Antonio Fauci, or if you are the CDC, your job is not to assess the economic risk, but rather your job should be, in my opinion, to assess the public health consequences of not taking restrictions. Not only that, but he also mentioned public scrutiny. That is fucking preposterous. Has anyone seen the CDC be specific about the science they're citing to justify a 5-day quarantine? Not the Twitter doctors, the CDC itself. And this is the main problem. Libby Watson is a healthcare writer. But the main problem here is that, and this is actually unceremonious and unique, the CDC does not make decisions like this that are all encompassing across the board for every sector, for every industry, without bringing in new data. Okay, what's unique about this, and maybe there is new data, but they haven't revealed it. And that's precisely why people are still posting the old data from November 2020. This
relationship isn't working out anymore.
So if there's no new data that shows that actually we were wrong previously on the 10-day quarantine, and we could have just been quarantining for 5 days, and you're coming out with this major decision, then clearly you're doing it for another reason. And that reason isn't like a conspiracy. They are openly stating what that reason is. And their reasoning is, we don't want to shut down the economy. Omicron is spreading too rapidly, and we don't want to shut down the economy, because if everyone who gets it, and a lot of people are going to get it, if they all stay home for 10 days, then you're going to have even more problems like we saw during the end of the holiday season this past week, with hundreds of flights being canceled as a consequence of not having enough people working. So the point is, get back to fucking work, you plebs. That's precisely what the CDC, or that's precisely what the bosses are saying. And that's now what the CDC is also saying. Okay? Now, here's the thing. Omicron might not be as bad as the prior variants, and early data indicates this as well. But of course, Omicron not being as bad as the prior variants is still dependent on who's getting Omicron. If you're talking about a country where 80% of the nation is vaccinated, or like 30% is boosted, or if you're talking about a country that is overall healthier, less comorbidity, all that sort of stuff, then clearly in a country like that, Omicron might come across as less deadly than prior variants. And what epidemiologists have said since the beginning of the Omicron spread starting was, by the way, mods, you can ban everyone who's mentioning fucking clout chasing grifter orbiters, no matter however many months they've actually been in here. It is even more pathetic than actually restreaming the stream to like farm just a little bit of clout. It's even more pathetic if you're a fan of mine and you're going over there watching just so you can clip shit and then send it to me. It is literally just it's just the worst thing you can do, honestly. You are worse than the person that you supposedly fucking hate. Okay? Anyway, as I was saying, judging what is happening in another country where there is, an 80% vaccinated rate versus the United States, where there is a higher level of comorbidity, a higher percentage of people with comorbidities, and also a lower percentage of people that are actually double vaxxed, is not going to be a one-to-one comparison. So the early fears that people had, like Dr. Eric Feigl-Ding, who I talked to on the Leftovers podcast as well, when I personally thought Omicron wasn't going to be that big of a fucking deal either, was that we were misanalyzing or misrepresenting the data and thinking that people are simply not dying because Omicron is not that significant and that, it's not that big of a deal. Some people were even going so far as to saying it's actually good that Omicron is spreading because it's like a much lighter version of the disease, right? It's a much lighter version of the variant. So this is a way to develop herd immunity. And that is not smart at all.
Hasan, you're fucking right. Hasan, you're fucking right. Hasan, you're fucking right.
Okay? The CDC's decision here is bad for two reasons. One, because they released this information without any additional data, any new data. And two, because
the CDC just announced he's really going through a lot right now. You're a really cool...
Okay, enough. If we also get owned even harder, okay? Because it looks like we are getting owned pretty hard right now. To give you a frame of reference, 1,500 people are dying on average from COVID right now in the United States of America. Okay, last year at this time, that number was 2,000, so it was higher. Of course, the number of people, like the COVID new case rates, are significantly higher than what it was last year because we have variants that spread way faster, right? That is a testament to modern medicine working. That is a testament to vaccines being successful. You understand? The reason why we have, 3x the number of new cases, but less deaths right now at the same exact time this year than the prior year is because vaccines are actually working. They're good. They're working. If you're eligible to get a booster, definitely get a booster. Okay? Why haven't other health agencies around the world changed their isolation time? Well, first of all, this is a good question, but also other agencies have lower isolation requirements to begin with. Some have higher, some have lower. Some are way more rigorous. Some actually do have, I thought there were more deaths this year. No, there have been more deaths this year than the prior year, But right now, as it stands, it's just been consistent. Right now, as it stands, there are less deaths every day, like less deaths on average this year at this time than last year at this time. So in the post-holiday season, or we're in the middle of the holiday season right now, there are less deaths. And that's been pretty consistent regardless, but more people have died this year than the year prior, yes. Dude, it's honestly fucked up. You're catching a stray for saying something factual. When are motherfuckers gonna learn hatred ain't gonna make you success? Burn bridges, you end up stranded. No, it's just like there are a lot of people who just simply feed off of just being like, dude, you're fucking wrong, or basically standing in opposition to me and being as uncharitable as possible because there's a market for that. There's nothing you can do. You just got to keep moving. And all I can do is basically represent my position as best as I possibly can so that people understand where I'm coming from. Okay? Can't imagine what data the CDC would release that would make this decision seem like anything less than bowing their heads to Delta. No, they absolutely could release information. What the information they could release is, for example, they could look at the Omicron spread. It's too soon to actually clearly state that Omicron is less deadly. But what they could do is release information that shows that, according to their analysis, that Omicron spreads way faster, but is nowhere near as deadly, and therefore is not as severe. It doesn't spread as much maybe after you get it. These are the things that they could potentially find and show us. But as it stands, that's not what's going on. Or rather, even if that's the case, they haven't really shown that. What the fuck is 2Mag gonna bring to Hasanabi table chatter? I mean, he was claiming that I was a fucking Trump supporter or whatever the fuck, or I was being I was spreading conspiracies about the CDC and all this other dumb shit. So I wanted him to clarify his position. And originally I was being charitable, and I was like, listen, I think you're misunderstanding what I'm saying. But he just straight up wanted to fucking... Oh, that's weird. Out of the entire conversation on LSF, Hasan just calls 2Mag a clout shark and an irrelevant bitch. That's great. That's nice, dude. Yeah. I missed the part where you called him an irrelevant bitch, but okay. No, I said that he's like absolutely trying to fucking farm clout off this. Even though LSF is actually agreeing with me weirdly. Anyway. On a CDC webinar, this is what the CDC Deputy Director Christopher Braden said a few minutes ago about why the CDC didn't release a science brief along with the new isolation guidelines. My best ever to transcription as he spoke. Alas, I'm waiting for the science. As far as a science brief that we would usually write, it's not going to be the same kind of document as a science brief that there's new science behind this. Yes, there is some new information, especially on Omicron. We don't know a lot of that information. So we're really looking to do something that provides more of a rationale rather than a science brief on this. We're working hard on that to then be able to put this into context as to what and why these new recommendations are being proposed. I don't have an issue with lowering restrictions. I don't have an issue with lowering the guidelines, okay? Everyone has COVID fatigue. Everyone has fucking quarantine fatigue. Everyone hates this shit. It's understandable. I don't want to wear a mask to the gym, for example. I hate it. I hope that they do have, all I will say on this is that I hope there is data to back up why they're doing this, and it's not precise. It's not simply because they're like, well, Omicron is spreading too much, and that's going to really tank the economy if people are staying home for 10 days. Because what you guys probably fail to realize, I think, maybe, perhaps, or are not seeing, is that when you lower the quarantine restrictions from 10 days to 5 days, your boss is going to make you come back to work in 5 days. It doesn't fucking matter if you have a negative test. Doesn't matter if you have a positive test. Doesn't matter if you're asymptomatic or symptomatic. When the COVID restrictions are lowered, your boss is going to make you come back to fucking work. That's just it. And not only that, but this is unique. This is a very big decision that the CDC made, and they didn't back it up with new evidence, which is what they normally do. So all the science writers that I follow and all the people that, help analyze this data were kind of confused as to why the CDC did not come out with new information that they made publicly available for people to look at. Okay? That's unique. And what I fear is that we're going into fuck it mode. The take it on the chinny bruv mode. What the fuck is this? And of course, the irony is that in many ways, some of you will say, we've never not been in fuck it mode. And that is true. And I have been against, the attitude, the lackluster attitude that Americans have taken from the jump. And I still am. And I find it really strange that the CDC is also capitulating to the fuck it mode Andy.
You talked about, is the CDC citing the science here as the driving force behind this decision, but you said the fact that it aligns with the number of days pushed by corporate America is, quote, less than reassuring.
Look, it was totally transparent here. This was asked for.
Are you just angry at the timing of the Delta CEO? Like, if they did a couple weeks back when it was changed for healthcare workers, would it be less sus? I mean, they changed it for healthcare workers. And I understood the decision as to why they changed it for healthcare workers, even though I think it compromises healthcare workers and it's fucked up as well. All right. But extending that to fucking Applebee's is psychotic to me. Okay. That's my anger. Extending that to Delta or extending that to every other sector is actually fucked up. I'm not just angry at the Delta CEO. I don't give a fuck about the Delta CEO. The Delta CEO, along with the Chamber of Commerce, has been trying to fucking lower restrictions from the jump. Once the fucking vaccines came out, they were like, you got to get vaccinated. Otherwise, you're going to fucking die. Who cares? Okay? I don't give a shit. I don't know why people are like singling out the Delta CEO. That is just a fucking meme. The side-by-side Twitter meme. Okay? The whole point is that there is, of course, in every fucking sector, people that own capital that want workers to get back to work in a more timely manner because of their fucking profit margins. I don't know why the fuck people are just like hyper focusing on the Delta CEO. A Twitter meme is not a fucking dissertation, guys. Okay? There's truth to what I'm saying in the Twitter meme itself. But you're being fucking ridiculous if you look at that and go, wow, it's only because the Delta CEO sent a strongly worded letter. Like, what are you, fucking dumb? Like, Jesus Christ. You literally singled him out in your tweet, though? Yeah, it's a fucking It's a tweet with two images side by side. I'm sorry that you're too fucking stupid to understand that two article screenshots is not a well-crafted, fully flushed out narrative, okay? And it's still true, by the way. It's literally still true. The Delta CEO's point of view represents the point of view of the Chamber of Commerce, represents the point of view of other business owners, okay? It's just simply one fucking example of a larger attitude that people have had. That's precisely why Joe Biden, even this week, reported that governors were trying to lobby him or petition him to lower COVID restrictions. You're you are hyper focusing on the one CEO to make my argument uncharitable. Okay? That's precisely what you're doing, or you're repeating what other people have put forward as an argument. So stop being duped by weirdos who just have a fucking hate boner for me, who want to make it seem like everything I say is wrong, even if they themselves probably fucking agree with me. Okay? So stupid. Good news. And then in the past 2 years, if you quarantine for 10 days, you can now apply 5 of those days towards your next quarantine. Wow, I can't believe Conan O'Brien is saying this. What the fuck? Blah, 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 blah. Yes, the Chamber of Commerce is a private business group and not a federal entity, despite being... despite sounding like a legitimate federal entity.
Or as the
anyway, here is this is like the airline the flight attendant union leader talking about the CDC guidelines.
Talked about, it's the CDC citing the science here as the driving force behind this decision, but you said the fact that it aligns with the number of days pushed by corporate America is, quote, less than reassuring.
Look, it was totally transparent here. This was asked for as these staffing issues were being put in place. Delta's statement after this policy was put into place had not an ounce of public safety in it, but it was all about the staffing issues. That's what was argued on the front end. That's how your segment started today. And that is the quick response from CDC in the middle of this holiday season to try to address that, rather than be focused on public health policies.
You talked about...
Yeah, I mean, this is basically the fucking anger that I feel as well, which is it's straight up just like not even when you are the CDC, your goal is to, manage public health, make sure that people aren't fucking dying of a preventable disease, right? Your goal is not to capitulate to the interest of capital and be like, yeah, okay, everybody should just like get back to fucking work. Who cares? You should be a little bit more responsible with your messaging rather than vague posting for Twitter likes. That's really cute that you said that, because my message is still the same. And also, not only that, but now you've moved the goalpost personally from you're Alex Jones to, wow, your messaging is not responsible. And that's the problem with debate, lords. And this is precisely why I fucking hate debate, because it was never about me spreading misinformation. It was literally always about winning the debate for your fucking side. Do you understand now? None of these motherfuckers disagree with me on the overarching issue, okay? That COVID is deadly, COVID is bad, and vaccines are good, and everyone should get their fucking vaccines, and everyone should be protected from COVID and not kill their fucking parents, okay? They all agree with me on this, but they're still trying to find any minutia to pick apart. And when originally it was like, oh, you're fucking belittling the CDC and you're undermining them, you're undermining the authority of the CDC at a time when we need it. Now it's moved on to, well, you're vague posting. Nobody called you Alex Jones? Nobody called me Alex Jones. The fuck do you mean nobody called me Alex Jones? The entire conversation started because Too Mad called me Alex Jones. You fucking idiot. If you're hyper focusing on the Delta CEO, like I'm trying to make a fucking argument that it's exclusively the fucking Delta CEO that is the reason for this COVID restriction being lowered, you're an idiot. I'm sorry. It's your own stupidity. You're getting mad at me for how stupid you are personally. The positions you've had to defend recently because of bad faith Andes have been insane. I know. It is crazy. Actually fucking bananas, dude. This is Alex Jones populism level. This is what started the conversation. This is what started the fucking stunlock to begin with. This is Alex Jones populism level, insinuating that Delta CEO through brute force power influenced the CDC. It's an incredibly uncharitable way to approach the subject. And now that the fucking dam broke and they couldn't get through with their fucking psychotic weirdo misinformation, now they're going to come in and just hit with pot shots. The people that I'm banning slowly but surely in the chat are doing exactly that. Lol, you're actually just the fucking Steven Crowder of the left. Lol, this and that. Because none of this ever was about the truth. Okay? It was never about the truth. It was never about my actual honest opinions. It was never about any of that. It was just about belittling and trying to fucking humiliate your opponent. That is what debates are all about. And it would have been good content if Too Mad wasn't such a fucking cowardly little bitch who begs me in my DMs out of sheer fucking desperation on a regular fucking basis to come on my broadcast. But then when actually presented with the opportunity is like, oh, I'm too stupid. I'm just a fucking idiot. Why won't you have someone smart on? It's just like, no respect for yourself, dude, really? No fucking respect. Pathetic. What kind of streamer is he? He's not even a streamer, dude. He's nothing. He's like a YouTube guy. Leak it? There's no reason to fucking leak it, dude. It's just, I already read it to you. They really do hate you more than anything. Very miserable people. Yeah, it's not healthy, man. It really isn't healthy. They were going to pull a Sam Cedar with D, literally admit it. The fuck was Destiny going to do? Fucking debate that, like, actually, no, there is scientific evidence right now. There's new information readily available when there isn't. It's so pathetic. This is precisely the reason why I don't fucking let Destiny anywhere near me. Like, he's so gross. Didn't he just recently get married? Have fun with your wife, you fucking weirdo. Jesus Christ, dude. Like the saddest, like absolutely saddest fucking way to exist on the planet. Jesus, Lord mercy, dude. Holy fuck. Here's a fun little ad from the CDC. My job puts me at high risk for COVID-19 exposure. I get vaccinated because it's better to be protected than out sick. I'm not letting COVID-19 take my shifts. Insanity. We are living in the dystopian world that we predicted it would look like in the future. I have not bought a car yet. Okay, we looked at Fauci. Here, let's hear the CDC director explain the new COVID isolation rules.
The new Omicron variant accounts for nearly 60% of cases in the U.S. now, according to the CDC. Joining us now is the CDC director, Dr. Rochelle Walensky. Dr. Walensky, thank you for being here with us this morning. And I want to start with the change in the...
My favorite is when the New York Times just fucking gave up on, you know, not paywalling important news. You know, the gray lady, by the way. And just straight up absolutely fucking paywalls it now. They're like, yeah, you need to subscribe if you want to see this like important COVID news. Okay, cool. Thanks. Anyway, here, let's hear what Rachel Walensky has to say.
Dr. Walensky, thank you for being here with us this morning. And I want to start with the change in the CDC guidance that cuts the isolation period in half if you're asymptomatic. So how did the CDC settle on 5 days for everyone?
Good morning, Caitlin. Thanks for having me. So we looked at several areas of science here. First, the science of how much transmission happens in the period of time after you're infected. We know that the most amount of transmission occurs in those 1 to 2 days before you develop symptoms, those 2 to 3 days after you develop symptoms. And if you map that out, those 5 days account for somewhere between 85 to 90% of all transmission that occurs. So we really wanted to make sure that during those first 5 days, you were spent in isolation. That's when most of it occurs. And then there is, of course, this tail end, a period of time in those last 5 days, where we're asking you to mask. But the other things that we were looking at is the epidemiology here. We are seeing and expecting even more cases of this Omicron variant. Many of those cases are mildly symptomatic, if not asymptomatic, and especially among those who are vaccinated and unvaccinated. And then finally, the behavioral science. What will people actually do when people need to get back to work? What is it that they will actually do? And if we can get them to isolate, we do want to make sure that they're isolating in those first 5 days when they're maximally infectious.
So from what you're saying, it sounds like this decision had just as much to do with business as it did with the science.
Well, so it really had a lot to do with what we thought people would be able to tolerate. We have seen relatively low rates of isolation for all of this pandemic. Some science has demonstrated less than a third of people are isolating when they need to.
And honestly, we've been doing a fucking, gangbuster job regardless, even with the relatively low rate of isolation, right? Is that what's going on? Aren't you literally fucking admitting that that's the problem? How do you admit that that is an issue in a country where more than 800,000 people have fucking died of COVID? And then you're like, and because of that, that's why we're lowering it even further? This doesn't make any sense, dude. It does not make sense at all. I can't believe the conspiratorial minds over at CNN asking these sorts of questions, by the way. It's so fucked up and such a big conspiracy. And I can't believe that Dr. Rochelle Walensky, the director of the CDC, is also, I guess, engaging in the conspiracy theory seriously, alongside Dr. Anthony Fauci and every other fucking communicator that has spoken out about this so far, about how, yeah, this is partially to do with businesses and partially to do with the economy maintaining itself. That's great though. That's cool that I guess everyone is in on the conspiracy theory. The science that they're referencing is not new science, by the way. That's the problem, which means that I guess they misinterpreted the old science thus far.
To. And so we really want to make sure that we had guidance in this moment where we were going to have a lot of disease that could be adhered to, that people were willing to adhere to, and that spoke specifically to when people were maximally infectious. So it really spoke to both behaviors as well as what people were able to do.
Well, so then I guess the question, if this is based on science that you already had at the CDC, why didn't you make this change sooner than this week?
Well, so our guidance...
Because the shortages weren't as exhaustive until this week, because Omicron spreads like a motherfucker, okay? That's the reason. That's literally the reason. Either you have to now admit, like, oh, based on our interpretation of the old data, we were just fucking wrong, and people should have been, isolating for 5 days instead of 10, which, by the way, that's not even the case. That's not even true. They're not going to ever say that. You know why? Because she already admitted that no one was fucking isolating. The problem with what the CDC does, regardless of what the public ends up doing, is that the CDC is the dam, okay? They are the final barrier. They are the legal mechanism that offers at least some kind of fucking ground for local governments to take action, for the government, for the federal government to take action. So when they lower that fucking restriction, it's over. It's done. They broke the dam, okay? Now, Republicans can do whatever the fuck they want. They can turn around and use this against the federal government. They can turn around and use this against the CDC. Why did they say it was 10 days when it was actually 5? Look at them saying it was 5 days now. I told you this was bullshit. This is the issue that I have. The CDC is once again just like in the beginning of the pandemic with the mask shit, undermining their own authority and fucking it up, okay? And botching it. What is this? Stop, dude. Come on. Newbie Bug, thank you for the 10 gifted subs. Here's the paragraph in the New York Times. As daily coronavirus cases in the United States soared to near record levels, federal health officials on Monday shortened by half the recommended isolation period for many infected Americans, hoping to minimize rising disruptions to the economy and everyday life. That is the reality. Omicron, as far as we know, is a super spreader, okay? It spreads very fast. It went from representing only 3% of new COVID cases to 78 in a matter of 7 days, a couple weeks back. Everywhere where Omicron is spreading, all across the world, they have hundreds of thousands of cases, okay? It's just the reality. So for that reason, wasn't that 78 number changed? Oh, they did it? They revised it to 58? My bad. I didn't see that. I thought it was 78%. It's 58%. It was 78, but they revised that number. See? New information can fucking oftentimes be wrong. Omicron is not Delta. It's not as potent. Why is it fucking lost on you? It's not. It's not lost on me. But one of the things that if you listen to me talk to Dr. Eric Feigl-Ding, for example, who's an epidemiologist, one of the things that epidemiologists are worried about is interpreting the data in other countries and then thinking that that's going to work in a similar capacity here in the United States, where in the United States we have higher rates of comorbidities and also way, way lower rates of people who actually have gotten the vaccine. Okay? We got a lot of big boys. One of the things that many of the healthcare professionals and many epidemiologists are worried about is people falsely assuming that because they got COVID already and aren't vaccinated, that they will be fine with Omicron. Omicron rips through the supposed natural antibodies that you may or may not even have. Once again, I have to repeat myself. Deaths are a lagging indicator, and we already have 1,500 deaths a day on average here in the United States of America. Okay? Now that's lower than last year, but last year there weren't any vaccines. This year we have vaccines, and we still have 1,500 people dying every day. Just because you don't see it in the news as much, just because it's not being fucking hit in the back of your dome every single day like it once was when it was fashionable to use it against Donald Trump as a talking point, does not change that reality. Okay? If you have unvaccinated people in your lives, they are still severely compromised. Okay? Be fucking safe. I work in the ICU. Most of the patients with COVID have comorbidities. While it's good they're pushing the vaccine, shouldn't they also push living a healthy lifestyle to the same capacity? Holy fuck. A nurse not bringing up nurses and doctors and healthcare professionals not bringing up people's weight challenge is impossible difficulty, okay? No, it's not a Joe Rogan take. This is just like a meme in healthcare that like and they're right because they are correct. They are correct. If people were healthier and had less comorbidities, then, you know, COVID would be less deadly to this population. So Mr. C Gaming is correct. It's just funny because it's literally like, you know, good luck. All I'm going to say is this, okay? All I'm going to say is this. I hope I'm fucking wrong. I hope I'm so wrong with my fear here that the CDC is just caving to the interest of business, and actually that like the gamble that they are operating on currently is completely correct, and that COVID is not going to fucking rip through the population. Okay? I hope I am so wrong, and just I'm cautious, and I hope I am incorrect in my assessment here. But I don't think I am. And those who are hyper focusing on like the capital side of this argument and saying like, oh my God, it's so fucked up. You said the poor Delta airline CEO, you threw him under the bus like this. Like, we are not on the opposing side of one another on this argument, okay? Unless you're like literally an anti-vaxxer, you fucking weirdo. In which case, we absolutely are not on the right. We are not, we're not in agreement there. But if you're one of those fucking liberals that comes in here to be like, you're so stupid, we fucking owned you in an argument, like, I hope I'm wrong. The idiots on Reddit have refined their arguments to turn LSF against you already. I mean, that would have happened very quickly, okay? If you spend your entire time on Reddit, like, you know what Reddit expectations are. Muddiest guideline ever. Tell me what's wrong with this CDC Gov rule. Besides zero testing for early isolation exit, it says you can simply leave the house if your symptoms are resolving. In what universe is that considered a clear guideline? Is dangerously muddy. People will definitely abuse that vagueness to be blasé and ignore isolation. Business will abuse it too, to the detriment of public health. Meanwhile, here is how UK rightfully sets clear-cut isolation guidelines with 2 negative tests on top. Like in the UK, they lowered it from 10 days to 7 days, I believe. But when they did that, they also accompanied that with still negative tests, with negative testing. People are just upset that as of now, you were right that they were going to prioritize profits over people. That's too lefty for some folks. Yeah, it's fucking psychotic. Anyway. My hospital, level 1 trauma center, treats all sorts of illnesses and age groups. Actually running out of COVID swabs right now because there's so many full families that are coming in our ER to get swabbed. We're already so overwhelmed with patients that our lobby has moved to the central hub of the hospital. Satire TikTok regarding the CDC response.
Yes, you.
So are the zombies capable
we
of...
We don't like to use the Z word at the CDC. We are talking about a virus that reanimates the deceased and sustains itself through a consumption of human brain tissue, and that doesn't sound anything like a zombie to me. That's a term that folks in the media like to use to stir up anxiety. But I do want to address what I think is people's real concern here, and that's the economy. If there's anything that needs to come back from the dead, it's jobs. If you are bitten, you can stay at work up until the moment you begin to crave human brains. And I think we really want to get that message out there. I take this opportunity to share with you the CDC's Bite to Work program, which consists of just a few... Yes, you.
So are the zombies capable of...
We don't...
One of my coworkers went to the hospital to try and get a COVID test because they were offering them an attend outside. She said there was like a line of 50 people. Anyway, didn't they find asymptomatic people that were shedding the virus for well over 30 days? Look, there's always going to look. There's a lot of uncertainty here because as far as we know, a big part of the problem is your viral load, okay? Big part of the problem is like how much of a viral load you got. That determines, along with a bunch of other factors, how much antibodies your body naturally creates and the staying power of said antibodies, all this stuff, okay? That's part of the reason why we advocate for the vaccine, that we urge people to get the vaccine, because there's an inconsistency there. But just because there's people that are still fucking, for example, spreading the virus maybe 30 days in, does not mean the quarantining process should be 30 days. And I'm not even anti making the quarantine process 5 days. I just want to make sure, and I want to see such a big decision be accompanied by actual fucking data, new data, not a reinterpretation of the old data. Or if it's a reinterpretation of the old data, I want there to be clear communication on why the original data that was interpreted in the way that it was interpreted in such a way. It's not that fucking ridiculous. You can't just all of a sudden decide, yeah, we were just wrong for the past year. And it's a 5-day thing now. Just kidding. When you do that, people make fun of you, understandably. By the way, the quarantine precautions were in respect to your exposure. 14 days after exposure, 3 to 4 days for the symptoms to show, 3 or 4 days for you to almost die, and another 7 days to be fully clear of the viral load. Thus, 14 days. It was never based on if you're infected, start your quarantine now. Anyway, well, let's see. The new director of the CDC.
Yeah, till July sounds like a bunch of bullshit. I'm sorry. But, like, it's a virus. I get it. Like, I respect it. But at the same time, like, even if everybody gets it, like, yeah, people are gonna die. It's just terrible. But, like, inevitable? I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't be doing this right now.
It's true. Oh, she said this last year, by the way. But hey, turns out she was right all along, baby. That's what the CDC said. You guys have a problem with that? Listen, motherfuckers, you can't be coming into my chat and telling me I'm a conspiracy theorist for criticizing this exact same take from the fucking CDC. Okay? Oh, Jesus Christ, dude. They hated her for telling the truth. Not only her, but like everyone that said, some of you are going to die, but that's a risk I'm willing to take. That meme. It's true. That's basically what the fuck is happening right now. Okay? Some of you are going to die, but that's a risk I'm willing to take. New publication cited by the CDC read. Wait, what? This letter was published on November 24th, 2021. Viral dynamics of SARS-CoV-2 variants in vaccinated and unvaccinated persons. I have no way to interpret this data, bro. When I say I want this data to come out alongside the CDC, I'm talking about other epidemiologists that are also peer reviewing this, okay? Not me. I'm a fucking idiot. But even I, as a fucking idiot, understand that it's unique when the CDC doesn't actually fucking release new information. It says, we are just reinterpreting the old information. Biostatistician here. Meta-analysis can be done on previous research to determine if the results are appropriate or consistent. This could be the reinterpretation that you're talking about. Meta-analyses are seen as more strong evidence than individual peer-reviewed papers. Okay, but they didn't even do that. Like, sending me the fucking sending me this data, I mean, this paper is silly. Like, I know what my fucking limitations are. Why are you mad at the CDC and not Big Pharma and corporate US? I am mad at the Big Pharma and corporate US. But the CDC is supposed to be a counterbalance to that. So if the government arm that's supposed to fucking, save us from the psychotic decision makings of capital is not doing their fucking job correctly, I'm going to criticize it. Like, you can criticize me if I tell you top of the hour there's a 6-second ad break, and then I don't tell you that you can avoid those ads by subscribing, Because at the top of the hour there's a 6-second ad break. Okay. There's ways to avoid those ads. Lowest density in like the top 20 content creators on this platform, by the way. Just pointing that out. Lowest density, lowest ad density. Even though people still complain. Hey, listen, you can avoid them. You get a gifted sub if you're lucky. It's kind of like natural immunity. It's inconsistent. You know what I mean? We're literally ignoring the science on this. No, I'm not. Hoping that there's new evidence that comes out is not ignoring the science. Oh, Jesus, he was just baiting for an ad break. Never mind, dumbass.
And so on and so forth. Some of you may die, but it's a sacrifice I am willing to make.
That's precisely what the fuck happened. Anyway, here's the 1-minute ad break now, boys. You can subscribe for $5 or for free with a Twitch Prime. Why does the CDC care whether or not the Delta CEO guy what he wants if they turn a blind eye to the public? Oh, only because it makes him look better in the public eye. Wait, fuck the Delta guy, man. What the fuck is wrong with you? It's not just the Delta CEO. Holy fucking shit. I often forget how dumb even people in my community are. Like, you don't even have to be literally from an outside community that just like despises me or some shit. You can just be stupid and fixate on one individual aspect of a fucking meme rather than the larger point. We are unfortunately arriving at the inevitable conclusion that like you are not supposed to meme, even if you're even if your overarching point is correct and this is like an individual piece of that puzzle. People are taking your meme and saying the only reason that the CDC made the rule change was the Delta CEO. People are literally brain dead. Yeah, I'm sorry. That's like even my community, lol, good one. Well, yeah. Well, the reason why I said even my community is because I've defined my perspective on this in here. Okay? That's why. And it's a little bit different than like coming from the outside with not exactly the best intentions and not exactly with a willingness to hear me out honestly and earnestly, which is all I ask for. If you're in here as a hater, if you're in here as a person who's like, fuck you, I hate you, or whatever, all I ask of you is to, just take a deep breath and try to understand what I'm saying in a more charitable fashion. This was the moment CDC defends altered guidance amid Omicron surge. Why is this not fucking loading? What the fuck? I can't click on this. I don't know why. Is age like milk? What is this? We're 8 months into this pandemic and Donald Trump still doesn't have a plan to get this virus under control. I do. Yeah, I mean, straight up. Oh, did you hear that the CDC told people they only have to quarantine for 5 days now? What the fuck? Mobile viewers coming in. Yeah, we're gonna talk about the white supremacist guy or the racist like Viking Andy that killed people in a second. Hold on. There's got to be more on this. Do you agree or disagree with the CDC? I mean, I agree that the CDC is important and very valuable. I disagree with their latest decision of of changing restrictions based on the prior data that they had, or reanalyzing or reinterpreting their prior data, and putting the viability of the economy over the interests of the people. So I disagree with the way that they revealed this information, and I think that the reason why they did it is because of public pressure. Pressure from businesses, and also pressure on the CDC in general. CDC's new guidance to drop isolation of positives for 5 days without a negative test is reckless. Some people say stay infectious for 3, some for 12. I absolutely don't want to sit next to someone who turned positive 5 days ago and hasn't tested negative. Test negative to leave isolation early is just smart. I'm 100% for getting people to drop isolation early. Heck, I formally recommended to the CDC in May 2020 and published a recommendation in Journal of Clinical Infectious Disease in April 2020. But it was always with a negative test. What the heck are we doing here? This is the part that hurts the most. The reason they're doing this, the change is motivated by science demonstrating SARS-CoV-2 transmission occurs generally in the first 2 days prior to onset of symptoms and after 2 to 3 days after. That was before Omicron. Today, it's obvious the situation has changed. People are testing earlier because symptoms onset is early, no longer 2 days after people are infectious. So now people are staying positive even longer after testing positive because they find out earlier if they are positive. And by positive, I don't mean PCR positive. I mean rapid antigen test positive for days longer, for often more than 10 days. So to say, leave isolation regardless if you have a positive antigen test is remarkable. That's the worst fucking part about it. Too mad is right and you know it. Admit it, bro. What the CDC decided is a calculated risk move to allow more people to return to work back. And if they're okay. If they're okay is doing the lion's share of the burden here. Kind of a weird thing to say, if they're okay. The CDC doesn't operate that way, you dumb bitch. Imagine being like, the fucking anti-vaxxer HVAC business owner in Alabama will decide now if their workers are okay. You know what I mean? Because the CDC was like, yeah, fuck it. Leave it to the hands of the motherfuckers that want to murder me and put my head on a fucking stick for saying you can't get a haircut in the beginning stages of COVID. You know? Great stuff. You okay, bro? Yeah, let's just leave it up to let's just leave it up to the homies. Someone known to be positive for 5 days in my view, is still one of the highest risk individuals in society for onward spread. We do so much just to find people who are positive in the first place. When we do identify them, we should do everything possible to keep them from spreading. At least if leaving isolation of 5 days without negative tests, wear N95 or similar performing mask. Government should provide them to everyone who enters isolation along with a rapid test. I mean, there's so many fucking people. It's not even like 1 or 2. There's so many people that are still testing positive 5 days in. And now they can just like slap on a mask and go outside. It's not even the appropriate mask. You haven't even shaved your face. You're not wearing an N95 mask. You're not wearing a KN95 mask. You're wearing a cloth mask. Everybody knows this. You're not shaving your fucking face to make sure that like it's not slipping out. And now you know you're fucking positive and you're running around. Why are you running around? 1, because you want to run around. And now the CDC has allowed you to do so. And 2, because your boss is telling you to go back to work. That's crazy. It's just, we have entered the fuck it stage of this, of our pandemic response. Okay. Now, some of you will correctly say we have always been in the fuck it stage of the pandemic response. And that is true.
President Biden
Let's see what President Biden had to say.
Biden dodging responsibility for the testing shortage, saying the problem must be solved at the state level.
By the way, love that for Fox News. When Donald Trump said the exact same thing, they were like, "It's obviously correct. It's obviously correct. The states should decide on their own. What the fuck?" But when Biden says it, and this was clip chimped, by the way, of Biden. I mean, fuck Biden, but like this was clip chimped. Then they're like, "Oh, President Biden abdicating responsibility once again." Wow, how fucked up.
At least 8 states are now providing free COVID tests to some or all residents.
Let's
Our
go,
next guest
Brandon.
represents one of those states in Congress. Let's bring in Iowa Republican Congresswoman Mariannette Miller.
I gotta pee. I'll be back in a
Congresswoman,
second.
Thank you so much for being with us today. I want to go back to that soundbite we heard from President Biden there, but we've been talking about it for a while. But he says this has to be handled at the state level, but everything he's done for the past year suggested a federal response, the mandates, the vaccines, the masks. What do you make about that apparent U-turn?
Well, I think it just underscores another failure of the Biden administration. So remember last year, the Democrats politicized the pandemic in order to affect the results of the election. And so that when they came in, that they were going to, get us through the pandemic, they were going to cure the pandemic, and they were going to get us back onto a path of normalcy. They also weren't going to mandate vaccines. So they knew they were coming into office with vaccines that were going to be approved, and they had 3 vaccines early on. They bungled the rollout of the vaccines. Then they had the HHS take over distribution of monoclonal antibodies. So now we know there's a shortage of monoclonal antibodies. And then they had the opportunity to pre-order tests. And I think I was the first physician, doctor, congresswoman to mention on Monday on Fox News that the rapid antigen test, according to a study from Reuters out of Belgium, is not as effective in detecting it. So we need to tailor who we're recommending testing to. So we continue to get, differing responses and contradictions from the CDC and from Dr. Fauci and from this administration.
Yeah, and Congresswoman, Iowa is one of the few states that is staying ahead of this surge, staying on top of it. It's providing home testing kits to everyone. How was Iowa able to do that? Where were you sourcing kits from and tests from, and how did you get ahead of this?
Well, I'm going to give the credit to our governor. Governor Reynolds has done a phenomenal job handling the pandemic from day one. She was transparent. She would hold weekly or daily conferences all through the pandemic. We had people go back to our students go back to in-person school last fall. So they were only out from mid-March until the beginning of June. So she really has done an extremely good job. We had
And then the internet personality Hasan confirmed the CDC conspiracy on Twitter. What CDC conspiracy? If you think anything I've said about the CDC is a conspiracy, you are quite literally not listening to the CDC. They are saying the exact same thing I'm saying. You're just too stupid not to understand it. And you are being agitated by people on the fucking timeline to get mad at someone you agree with otherwise. Canada is preparing for another lockdown. It looks like the Canadian Revenue Service has already posted on their website a $300 per week support initiative. Yeah, good luck. Do these people really believe what they're saying? Hasan turning into a debate bro as soon as it's someone not knowledgeable about politics. Pepe laugh. Motherfucker smurfing the low elo debate bros. Oh my lord, dude. I've debated fucking Ann Coulter, man. Like I have made my terms very clear. Okay? I made my terms very clear. It's going to be fun, interesting, unique. Or if it's going to be a person with enough clout, yeah, I'll debate him. Because I don't think debates are where you arrive at the truth. You guys think it's a fucking game, admitted by the low elo debate bros attitude. So why are you upset at me when I'm treated like a game? Yeah, it is a game. Debating is a game. It's not like a genuine, thoughtful, intellectual discussion. One of the last motherfuckers I debated almost became the governor of California, and I did it on television, okay? All I'm stating is, I'm not going to entertain debates from every fucking weirdo that's like, come on. Come on, debate me, debate me, debate me, debate me. Come Greek also tried to join drama, a tale and 2 screenshots. Because there's a lot of people who just, you know, make all their living off of doing precisely that. Now I want to see this. Like they're saying that Too Mad is based and fucking super knowledgeable and rolled Hasan, and then simultaneously turning around and being like, he's too stupid, he can't debate him. That's why he wants to debate him. He's absolutely right from him being a troll and doing this for content, but to say he's a cloud shark when Too Mad is twice as clouded as Hasan is still doing well YouTube wise, pretty delusional. LMAO, how's that racist trash bigger than Hasan? Nice post history. What the fuck? This is the guy who won't debate anyone. Lol, actually malding because debating is stupid. Then why challenge some irrelevant cloud shark on a stream? Because he's misrepresenting what I'm saying. Defending your arguments is stupid. Oh my god, defending your arguments. I can't not sort by controversial. Guys, debate bros are so fucking cringe, lol. Why would you get on stream and debate me in real time? I don't think people understand. I mean, they don't understand. Yes, debating is stupid, and I think it would still be entertaining if I were to debate someone who is so clearly misrepresenting my talking points on Twitter to fucking, you know, make a video or get some fucking brownie points out of it. Both of these things can be true at the same time, and they are. And originally, I didn't even want to, I did not even want to have like a debate. I reached out to him without wanting to debate him. I took him seriously. At first I thought it was a joke and I said, this is a funny bit. Then I was like, wait, are you serious? And he was serious. So then he started fucking writing psychotic shit, comparing me to Donald Trump supporters, saying that I'm similar to Alex Jones and doubling down on the idiotic position. And that's when I was like, this could be funny content. What's weird that the Pepela D NFT stuff was quickly brushed aside, but other stuff just sticks on you? Yeah, because there's a dedicated community that tries to stick it as much as they can. Like, it's just how it is. It's like, judging by Hasan's track record, I thought I was going to use a racial slur. Lol. Oh my god. Maybe he was down to collab but got mad at his bad take. If I wanted to collab with Greek and then Greek says some anti-vax shit, I'm not clout chasing by calling him out. Am I saying anti-vax shit? Dumbass? That's the equivalent to anti-vax shit? Me repeating what Anthony Fauci has said is anti-vax shit? Hasan is obsessed with clout. Yeah, okay. I don't know why Hasan takes political disagreements so personally. Dude, if you don't take... Okay. This is another fucking thing that, again, debate bros love, which is, why do you take political disagreements so personally? I don't know. Maybe because the overarching consequences of having such attitudes manifest is literally damaging and deadly. So I take the issues seriously that I talk about. You are literally admitting that you yourself don't care about the things that you're talking about, and it's just a simple disagreement, or rather a conversation, a back and forth to have to own the other side. That's the point. That's the main difference. And that's kind of the reason why I fucking hate, literally hate debating debate lords. They're like, why is he so emotionally invested in the things that he's talking about? I don't know. Maybe because I believe it, dumbass. That's the point. OP acknowledging his post is political, but it won't be removed. Yeah, I mean, of course not. Come on, dude. There's clout to be farmed off here, boys. Come on, look at that. It doesn't matter anyway. Who cares? Anyway, what else was I gonna do? I was gonna talk about this and then other shit. But listen, guys, we couldn't have had one day where I was calling out someone for COVID misinformation and you know, benefiting from positive reinforcement from the community. It had to turn into something that was negative again. You know what I mean? They had to fucking... You're the one spreading misinformation? Bro, you're wrong and you have to backtrack. Why not accept it? Again, ultimate debate lord power tool. You were wrong. Just take the L. No, I wasn't. Not like normal people debate for fun like those sickos. Of course, it's personal. Yeah. Anyway. For the record, if you guys want to see me debate that fucking aggressively, or if you're that thirsty to see some of my debates, one of the last ones I did was Michael Knowles last year. You know, there's plenty of debates on the internet that you can watch of me debating notable conservative commentators, including people that have run for governor of California, like Larry Elder. So, you know. There it is. Brother, how do you not care about things you preach? Like motherfuckers really out here treating it like a video game? Yeah, because none of that shit touches them, dude. That's the whole point. Like, and they can't even comprehend a world in which like they care about something that doesn't immediately impact them. That is the problem. Social justice and these sorts of issues are simply things that you can, weapons that you can hold and use against your ideological opponents. And nothing but that.
The surge in cases after...
That's it. And this basically gives the game away. Very frustrating. Big Lamo, thank you for the 50 gifted subs. Not making a political point about you, just saying that Larry Elder running for California doesn't make him any less of a complete joke. No, I agree. I think the state of our politics is fucking devastating that a complete joke could, you know, come relatively close to becoming the governor of California, right? But yeah, oh here, this is the last one. Another, bro, you guys got to stop linking me these incredible conspiratorial fucking takes, dude. Like NPR on their health news section. New CDC isolation guidelines raise concerns among health experts. Man, look at all these fucking conspiracy theorists, dude. You know, NPR, InfoWars. What? Who's to say it's not the same? Which, by the way, I think Too Mad did respond to me. Let's see. Lol, okay, when? I just seen your ass get madder than ever and just use speculation to defend yourself? Hey, dumbass. Actually, I shouldn't say that. Come on whenever, bud. Hit him with a bud. Here, read up on more conspiracies while you're at it. Listen, I didn't say big guy. I just said bud. Not even the full buddy. So give me a break. Okay, more than 200,000 people are testing positive for COVID-19 in the United States each day. Until this week, a positive test meant you should stay home for 10 days to avoid infecting others. Now, those who don't have symptoms after 5 days can go back to their regular activities as long as they wear a mask, according to the updated guidance from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. The change in guidance released Monday was motivated by science, demonstrating that the majority of SARS-CoV-2 transmission occurs early in the course of the illness, according to the CDC. CDC Director Dr. Rochelle Walensky says the change was also motivated by economic and societal concerns. With a really large anticipated number of cases for Omicron, we also want to make sure we can keep the critical functions of society open and operating, she told NPR on Tuesday. We can't take science in a vacuum. We have to put science in the context of how it can be implemented in a functional society. Public health experts say a shorter isolation period may be reasonable at this point in the pandemic, but they say that the agency's new guidance is problematic because it relies on people's self-judgment to assess their transmission risk and could lead to more spread and more COVID-19 cases if people aren't careful. That's one of the major concerns. Okay? One of the major concerns here is like, just figure it out on your own. Bitch, you know how stupid everyone is. How are you going to let them figure it out on their own? CDC said this was fine. It's fine, dude. Yo, people in Florida will figure it out on their own. The CDC is right. The vast majority of the transmissions happen in the first couple of days after the onset of symptoms, so the data shows about 20 to 40% of people are still going to be able to transmit COVID after 5 days. Dr. Emily Landon, an infectious disease specialist at U Chicago Medicine. Is that person leaving isolation after 5 days really safe to carpool with or have close contact with them or take care of your unvaccinated kids? Probably not. I don't think so. CDC, on the other hand, they're like, yep. Mask adherence is essential to this policy being effective, Landon says. The guidance assumes that people will wear a mask for 5 days after coming out of isolation if infected, and for 10 days if they were exposed to a positive case. But mask compliance in the U.S. is generally low. Many people will wear their masks on their chins or below their noses, which is useless for preventing transmission. That's another problem, is like, leaving it up to individual responsibility. Like, look, here's the problem, okay? Here's the issue. The government and the way that the government is supposed to work in a healthy, functioning country is antithetical to America's hyper-individualistic attitudes, okay? So the CDC caving and operating like, a reactionary force here is devastating. Relegating it to personal responsibility of individuals when we know that is your entire purpose, your entire job is the opposite of that, is psychotic to me, okay? Snopes wrote an article, did the Delta CEO influence CDC on 5-day COVID isolation? The rumor trended on Twitter. Another tweet from former Texas Democratic congressional candidate Russell Foster claimed, dude, I love Snopes so much. Snopes is like literally all the fucking weirdo libs that are like, technically we don't actually know if the Delta CEO personally was responsible. It's like, yeah, okay, got it. The story began on December 21st after Reuters published that it had reviewed a letter that was sent from the Delta Airlines CEO to the CDC director, Dr. Rochelle Walensky. Delta Airlines also published a letter on its website. They also shared with us 2 studies about the Omicron variant. On the same day that the Reuters published the story about the letter, NBC News reported that the U.S. public health authorities were considering shortening, what's up, soda poppin'? Shortening the 10-day recommended quarantine period for asymptomatic healthcare workers. The news came from inside the White House. On December 23rd, 2 days after Delta Airlines' letter was made public, other carriers agreed with Delta Airlines about the reduction in isolation days. They were doing this, by the way, because there were shortages. Airlines for America which represents Southwest, American, United, Delta, and others, warned that the current quarantine guidelines could cause labor shortages and disruptions. However, Sarah Nelson, president of the Association of Flight Attendants, disagreed. Staffing flights with crew members who may still be symptomatic, infectious, or both by shortening them on necessary isolation time will only make the situation worse. Because remember, if you are forcing people to go back to work while there's still a 20 to 40% likelihood that they're spreading COVID, okay, you're potentially risking infecting your entire workforce. Also on December 23rd, CDC released emergency guidance for healthcare workers due to the Omicron variant surge in cases. It reduced the number of days for isolation and also provided contingency and crisis management in the setting of significant healthcare worker shortages. And then the holiday flight cancellations began. CDC made its announcement. And ultimately, the fucking thing that they're going to say basically is, oh, we don't know if the Delta Airlines CEO personally was able to impact the CDC's decision or not. Okay? I'm 100% convinced one of your chargers hacked too, man. What do you mean? There's no shot. It's insane. One of my chatters hacked them to fucking write out shit that all of my haters say. By the way, for the record, I invited him. I extended an invitation to Too Mad, the scientific brain behind today's Stunlock. What did Soda say? Dude, that's crazy, Hasan. No way. Anyways, are you partying on New Year's? Gonna slam some pussy? No. And no. I want to, but I'm scared. Not of the pussy thing, but of the COVID thing. Or just like partying in general. We can do a VR orgy if you want, Soda. You want to do a VR OG, bro? The reason 2Matt took so long to respond is because he was waiting for Destiny's League game to end. They're trying to Steven Crowder you. What is he going to do? Fucking put a phone up to be like, you're going to debate Destiny now? It's like so psychotic and so pathetic at the same time, too. Jesus Christ, dude. Have Soda help you get a mute, teach you how to game. What did Poke say? Oh, debate my daddy. We note that while the CDC has stated that the change in guidance was based on current science and the necessity ensuring that people can safely continue their daily lives, the question of whether or to what degree the airline industry's public comments have influenced that decision remains unanswered. We reached out to the CDC for more information and we'll update the story if we receive further answers. So, I think it's really funny that just shut the fuck. Oh my God, dude, you're digging a grave for no reason. I'll be in our Discord in a little bit. Look, you can admit you're wrong. You have 30K viewers. Brother, just get in and don't try to fucking bring that irrelevant neoliberal loser on. I hate how he farms every interaction or conversation into 7 YouTube videos suckling on my teat like a desperate calf. Including this conversation. Why the fuck does... What I simply cannot comprehend is how this is seen not as pathological, but like normal behavior. This is 2019 Discord debate energy when Nazi would start crying as soon as you pulled him into the VC. I think Too Mad is doing this for a video. I hope. Getting real early 2019 vibes from the stream today. I love that yesterday I was like, I'm not a fucking debate, bro. You think you have enough clout to bring Dr. Fauci on the broadcast? I wanted to in the beginning, but I don't know if it was the CDC or if it was the White House that was like talking to Twitch, and they did not want to. They were like, nope. Fauci's been on Twitch, but they didn't want him coming on my broadcast. It's not brand risk. It's because I'm going to say things that may come across as critical. Here's what's going to happen. Okay. I will have Too Mad on. I suspect what Too Mad will end up trying to do is the similar like Steven Crowder thing. And I'll entertain it for a moment. And what they will try to get out of that interaction is exactly the fucking clip that happened with Steven Crowder, to be like, he's so afraid of destiny. Let's boost his fucking points. And that's pretty much it. Because, again, none of this conversation, absolutely 0% of this conversation revolves around the original argument. And this is precisely why I fucking hate debates. I hate debates because we've moved on.